An elite force of female submariners is currently trapped inside the most hostile, claustrophobic combat environment on Earth, locked away with 150 men for months on end, severed from sunlight and human civilization. These women are no longer just surviving the crushing abyss, they are taking absolute command of the world's deadliest war machines. But how do they actually endure this ultimate, high-pressure psychological crucible without completely shattering? Let's step inside the USS New Jersey to uncover the dark, classified truth of how they survive. Right now, somewhere 800 feet beneath the crushing, pitch-black weight of the ocean, a catastrophic 350 pounds of pressure per square inch is desperately trying to obliterate a 7,800-ton steel cylinder. Yet, inside the HY-80 high-yield hull of the USS New Jersey, SSN 796, the most explosive dynamic isn't the nuclear reactor or the payload of UGN-109. Tomahawk missiles, it is the elite female submariners currently rewriting the absolute DNA of the United States Navy's silent service. Right now, as you watch this, women are breathing recycled, amine-scrubbed air, completely severed from sunlight, fresh oxygen, and global communication for up to 180 grueling, uninterrupted days. This is no longer a localized trial. This is the most extreme psychological and physiological endurance test in military history, and women are actively dominating. To grasp the sheer, terrifying magnitude of their reality, we must look at a brutal, vivid contrast. Outside the 337-foot metallic tube of this Block 4 Virginia-class submarine lies millions of square miles of infinite open water. Inside, true personal space is a mathematical impossibility. These pioneers are confined to a hyper-compressed ecosystem where one-third of the internal volume is fiercely consumed by the roaring S9G reactor and weapon payloads. They sleep in aluminum coffins stacked 3 high, operating on a punishing, sleep-depriving 8-hour watch cycle, sharing a microscopic 5-inch deep storage pan for their entire life possessions. For 114 years, this exact tactical pressure cooker was a strictly male domain, fortified by the archaic belief that the extreme sensory deprivation and zero privacy confinement would inevitably shatter the cohesion of a mixed-gender group. But the hard, unforgiving operational data is completely dismantling those century-old assumptions with surgical precision. These women are not experimental passengers enduring the suffocating depths. They are the calculating, lethal minds hunting adversary silhouettes in the dark. They are meticulously analyzing complex acoustic signatures on the BQQ-10 spherical sonar arrays and operating the delicate trim and drain systems that prevent a $3.2 billion warship from plunging irreversibly past its classified crush depth. A single mathematical error or momentary lapse in focus means instant catastrophic implosion for all 135 souls aboard. Despite this mind-bending psychological burden, enlisted female submariners are currently boasting an ironclad 75% retention rate, statistically outlasting and outcommitting their male peers in the military's absolute most unforgiving environment. The USS New Jersey itself is a living monument to this triumph. Engineered from the keel up with redesigned privacy bulkheads and repositioned actuation valves to physically prove that lethality has no gender. They are earning their submarine warfare insignia, the legendary dolphins, through blood, a sweat, and absolute mastery of the nuclear casualty response. But how exactly do you engineer a subterranean micro-society that prevents total psychological collapse when you lock 135 men and women in a submerged steel pipe for half a year? And what complex, unspoken survival tactics must be deployed when those heavy hatches finally seal shut? When the 300-pound circular steel hatches of the USS New Jersey SSN 796 lock shut, the heavy locking dogs clank into place with the definitive metallic finality of a bank vault sealing out the entire human world. In that exact fraction of a second, the submarine ceases to be a mere vessel. It awakens as a 7,800-ton HY-80 high yield, steel leviathan, a mechanized, breathing organism that demands absolute, ruthless synchronization from every soul trapped within its belly. Down at 800 feet, where the ocean is pitch black and the pressure is lethal, there is no such thing as silence. The baseline acoustic reality is a relentless 70 to 80 decibel industrial roar. It is a punishing, inescapable symphony of high-velocity ventilation fans screaming through the bulkheads, the hum of vital electrolytic oxygen generators, and the deep, bone-rattling thrum of the 40,000 shaft horsepower S9G nuclear reactor's primary coolant pumps. For the female submariners stepping into this abyss, the first brutal psychological hurdle is the absolute surrender of their senses. For the next 4,320 hours, they will never feel a natural breeze, hear true quiet, or see a single photon of sunlight. The very air they breathe is a violent, highly engineered chemical compromise. Because a sealed submarine constantly generates lethal carbon dioxide from 135 human lungs, the boat's atmosphere is entirely manufactured by massive CO2 scrubbers. These machines rely on monoethanolamine, a highly volatile liquid amine sprayed in a fine mist to aggressively strip the CO2 out of the pressurized air. This life-saving chemical process leaves a distinct, inescapable signature, a heavy, metallic stench that is a noxious cocktail of atomized diesel fuel, ozone, hydraulic fluid, and ammonia. It permanently bakes into their skin, their hair, and the very microscopic aramid fibers of their flame-resistant Nomex uniforms. Because female olfactory senses are biologically proven to be highly acute, these sailors must rapidly suppress this overwhelming, nauseating sensory assault just to focus on their mission-critical tactical displays. Beyond the toxic atmosphere lies the total, systematic destruction of the human circadian rhythm. Down in the crushing oceanic depths, time is an artificial construct dictated strictly by grueling 8-hour watch rotations, illuminated entirely by sterile, unwavering fluorescent lighting. The human body's natural melatonin production spirals into absolute physiological chaos, inducing a state of chronic, low-grade exhaustion. Yet, the ocean offers no mercy for fatigue. Despite severe compounding sleep deprivation, a female sonar technician is expected to sit rigidly at her AN/BQQ-10 spherical array console for hours on end, staring deep into the cascading green waterfall displays in the digital abyss. She must flawlessly isolate and identify the microscopic 50 Hz narrowband acoustic anomalies of a Russian Yazan M-class nuclear submarine, hiding thousands of yards away in the complex oceanic thermoclines. A single missed acoustic transient, a momentary lapse in concentration, could mean a 50-knot lethal torpedo wake heading straight for their hull. But the most exhausting dynamic isn't the physical deprivation. It is the invisible, suffocating psychological burden known internally as the fishbowl effect. In a hyper-compressed ecosystem of 135 highly trained operatives, where women constitute a distinct minority, they operate under a microscopic, inescapable spotlight. They cannot simply blend into the machinery or retreat behind a closed door. Every qualification standard they meet, every complex nuclear casualty drill they execute, and every minor miscalculation is exponentially magnified by the tight-knit crew. These female sailors are carrying the crushing, unspoken weight of not just their own survival, but the absolute validation of their entire gender's permanent existence within the lethal tip of the United States naval spear. To combat this immense, crushing psychological pressure, these pioneers have engineered a brilliant, covert matrix of survival tactics tailored specifically for the deep. While male submariners have historically vented extreme stress through aggressive physical exertion or hyper-compartmentalized dark humor, women have woven a highly efficient, quiet psychological safety net. Senior female officers conduct whisper-quiet micro-mentorships in the claustrophobic 24-inch passageways between the torpedo racks and auxiliary machinery rooms. They rapidly transmit critical survival data from managing the physiological changes of a female body under prolonged artificial atmospheric pressure to navigating the complex interpersonal minefield of a traditionally male-dominated combat hierarchy. Emotional compartmentalization is not a polite suggestion. It is a vital tactical necessity. In a steel tube where personal space mathematically equals zero, a heated argument is treated as a severe biological hazard that could instantly destroy the unit cohesion required to safely operate a nuclear reactor. Personal space is violently protected through mutual unspoken respect. To stave off the severe physical atrophy caused by extreme confinement, fitness routines take on a surreal, almost dystopian aesthetic. Deep in the weapon storage compartments, female sailors rig makeshift pull-up bars and resistance bands directly above racks of Mk-48 advanced capability IDCAP mod 7 heavyweight torpedoes. There is a staggering, poetic juxtaposition in executing high-intensity interval training this mere inches from 650 pounds of highly volatile PBXN 103 explosive payload. It is a daily physical defiance against the crushing lethargy of the deep ocean, maintaining the lethal hair trigger readiness required to snap a hostile 10,000-ton destroyer in half. Through this relentless physical and psychological crucible, these women are forging an entirely new, vastly more lethal operational culture. But this seamless integration of deadly efficiency was not achieved through sheer willpower alone. It demanded a radical, multi-billion-dollar physical metamorphosis of the warships themselves. A transformation born from a turbulent history the Navy was forced to confront head-on. That dark history began when the Pentagon officially shattered the ironclad submarine gender barrier in 2010. The initial integration, Ground Zero, was the Ohio-class ballistic missile fleet, colossal 18 750-ton boomers, silently carrying the apocalyptic payload of 20 UGM-1338 Trident and 2 B-5 nuclear missiles, but forcing a sudden demographic shift into a century-old, hyper-isolated brotherhood, exposed deeply entrenched, toxic fractures. Between 2011 and 2015, the silent service was violently rocked by severe internal breaches of trust. Aboard the USS Wyoming SSBN 742, male sailors were uncovered secretly recording female midshipmen and officers within the cramped, retrofitted shower facilities. In the civilian sector, this is a severe felony. But inside the hyper-pressurized, 150-person ecosystem of a nuclear submarine submerged at 800 feet, it is tactically synonymous with a catastrophic internal hull breach. Survival in the crushing abyss relies entirely on the absolute, unquestionable reliability of the sailor standing shoulder to shoulder with you. The female sonar technician cannot implicitly trust the machinist's mate operating the Mark 21 torpedo tube muzzle. The combat cohesion of an entire $3 billion warship is instantly neutralized. Paranoia in a submarine is a fatal disease. It breeds hesitation, and it's submarine warfare. A 1-second hesitation against a Russian Yasenin-class hunter-killer means death for all 135 souls aboard. While other global naval forces faltered most notably, the Royal Navy's devastating 2024 internal investigations that exposed systemic, deep-rooted harassment within their Vanguard-class fleet, the United States Navy executed a ruthless surgical eradication of the internal threat. The response from the highest echelons of naval reactors and submarine forces was absolute, uncompromising zero tolerance. Perpetrators were not quietly reassigned to desk jobs. They were aggressively court-martialed under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, formally and publicly stripped of their coveted dolphins, and permanently ejected from the armed forces. Submarine commanders across the fleet were delivered a brutal ultimatum. Tactical culture is a direct command responsibility, and failure to protect the psychological integrity of your crew will instantly terminate your career. Through this dark, unforgiving crucible, the Navy recognized a chilling operational truth. Relying on flimsy privacy curtains and makeshift plywood retrofits in legacy submarines was actively sabotaging their own elite operators. To truly weaponize this highly capable demographic, they had to fundamentally alter the very DNA of the warships themselves. Enter the USS New Jersey, SSN 796, a $3.2 billion block, 4 Virginia-class fast attack submarine. This is the very first submarine in United States naval history, engineered from the keel up exclusively for a fully integrated combat crew. This was not a superficial public relations adjustment. This was a highly classified, multi-billion-dollar ergonomic metamorphosis designed to maximize human lethality. In a 137-foot HY-80 steel tube where combat effectiveness is measured in microscopic milliseconds. Every single inch of the interior volume was meticulously reevaluated. Consider the engine room operation space. Historically, securing the massive overhead actuation valves for the secondary propulsion unit required the sheer upper body torque and wingspan of an average 6-foot man. On the New Jersey, these vital mechanical choke points were structurally lowered and mechanically refueled. This critical engineering shift ensures that a 5'4" female auxiliary electrician can rapidly, manually secure a ruptured 600 psi high-pressure steel pipe during a catastrophic Class Bravo fire trip without losing a fraction of a second or requiring a step stool. The psychological battleground of personal privacy was also fundamentally weaponized for peace of mind. The archaic, claustrophobic, enlisted berthing areas were completely gutted. The New Jersey now features rigid, sound-dampened modular bulkheads with proper lockable doors, replacing the degrading curtain-drawn bunks of the past. The legendary aluminum coffin, triple-stacked racks were upgraded with integrated, reinforced step stools. This allows shorter sailors to maneuver instantly during a frantic general quarters combat alone, without risking severe physical injury in the red-lit darkness. Even the emergency air-breathing EAB manifolds the critical life support mass required when the submarine's atmosphere suddenly fills with toxic electrical smoke were systematically repositioned along the bulkheads for immediate universal accessibility. Simultaneously, the independent duty corpsman's IDC medical bay was completely overhauled. It is now outfitted with highly specific pharmacological protocols, secure biological disposal systems, and diagnostic equipment tailored entirely for female physiology, operating under severe, prolonged atmospheric pressure for 180 days. The United States Navy did not invest billions of dollars into gender integration merely to satisfy progressive political quotas. They did it because the cold, hard combat data proves that diverse crews are operationally superior. Different cognitive backgrounds process the chaotic, narrowband acoustic waterfall displays of the AN/BQQ-10 sonar suite differently. A diverse combat information center identifies, tracks, and synthesizes a firing solution on a hostile submerged target significantly faster than a homogeneous one. The machine physically adapted to the operators, driving the operational readiness of the fleet to an unprecedented, flawless, 100% mission success rate for integrated crews. But as these women flawlessly execute hunter-killer operations in the darkest trenches of the world, a new, unprecedented milestone is rapidly approaching, one that will place the absolute, world-ending power of America's nuclear arsenal directly into their hands. As the chronometer relentlessly ticks toward the year 2028, the United States Naval Submarine Force is bracing for a seismic, unprecedented paradigm shift. For the first time in the 128-year history of the silent service, a female officer will cross the brow, assume the mantle of commanding officer, and take absolute tactical control of a nuclear-powered Leviathan. To understand the sheer gravity of this impending moment, you must strip away the political theater and look at the raw, terrifying physics of strategic deterrence. If she takes command of an Ohio class or the upcoming $132 billion Columbia class SSBN, she will possess the firing codes for up to 20 UGM-133A Trident II D5 submarine-launched ballistic missiles. Each of those 44-foot airspace monsters carries up to 8 W761 or W88 independently targetable thermonuclear warheads, yielding up to 475 kilotons each. She will hold the apocalyptic capability to single-handedly obliterate entire adversary nations in less than 30 minutes from the moment a classified emergency action message EAM is authenticated via the extremely low-frequency ELF trailing wire antenna. The psychological burden of standing in the cramped, red-lit missile control center, hovering over the firing triggers, demands a level of cold-blooded, unwavering mental fortitude that very few humans, regardless of gender, possess. This 2028 milestone is not a solitary anomaly. It is the razor-sharp tip of a rapidly expanding spear. The Navy's operational blueprint mandates a massive escalation, projecting 39 fully integrated submarine progressively surpassing the original target of 33. This exponential growth is directly tied to the Columbia-class SSBN development program. As the lead ship, the USS District of Columbia SSBN 826 takes shape in the dry docks. It is being forged with the absolute understanding that the future of underwater warfare is entirely gender blind. The days of awkwardly retrofitting billion-dollar stealth platforms with plywood and privacy curtains are officially dead. New construction means purpose-built equality, engineered specifically to extract maximum tactical efficiency from every single operator. The Pentagon did not greenlight this massive integration expansion merely to champion fairness. They did it because the empirical combat data is absolutely undeniable. Submarines operating with integrated crews are consistently outmaneuvering and out-hunting homogeneous crews in highly complex, multi-axis threat simulators at the Naval Submarine Base New London. In the chaotic, hyper-stressed environment of the Combat Information Center CIC, cognitive diversity is a tangible lethal weapon. When a hostile surface action group initiates active sonar pinging, different minds dissect the chaotic acoustic data streams differently. A female fire control technician might identify an obscure, low-frequency 50 Hz mechanical transient from a Russian kilo-class diesel-electric submarine that a homogeneous crew missed. Synthesizing a lethal Mark 48 ADCAP mod, 7 firing solution mere seconds faster. In submarine warfare, a 3-second advantage dictates who lives to surface and who implodes in the dark. The 730 female submariners currently deployed across the globe are not fighting for participation trophies. They are highly specialized combat leaders, nuclear engineers, and acoustic analysts earning their positions through a ruthless, uncompromising meritocracy. They have voluntarily traded the warmth of the sun, the comfort of fresh air, and the physical embrace of their families for a hyper-compressed, 337-foot steel tube submerged in the freezing depths of the world's oceans. They endure the excruciating pressure cooker of the deep, proving themselves twice over. Their success rates shatter archaic prejudices. Female officers currently exhibit a 29% retention rate for critical department head positions, a full 1.5% higher than their male peers. Mission success rates remain locked at a flawless 100%. Ultimately, this is not just a story about women surviving a hostile environment. This is a masterclass in human lethality, immense sacrifice, and absolute resilience. These sailors are succeeding because they are outstanding, apex predators who happen to be women. Right now, hundreds of feet beneath the crushing, pitch-black ocean surface. America's ultimate hidden shield is being fiercely guarded by silent heroes who possess the character and the unyielding dedication to hold the line. Courage has no gender. Lethality has no gender. If you are awed by the silent, most crushing sacrifice of these incredible female submariners defending the depths, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into military strategy, and sound off in the comments below. Until next time, stay vigilant and remember who is holding the line.